Hey guys, what's up? We are back here with another video today, and this is my last mock draft of the 2024 cycle. I know I haven't done as many of them, but it is a Green Bay Packers. I know I'm a Chicago Bears fan, but the Packers fans definitely do a great job at watching these videos. There's no doubt about it. Um, and we're gonna take on the Packers mock draft. This is the last one. This is number 2.0, and got the first pick at number 25. We're not going to have any trades in this mock draft. I kind of kept with the picks I have and just didn't want to do trades particularly, so we're going to keep it no trades. Before we get started, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal of 1450 by the end of April. We're reaching towards that. We're getting close. And then make sure you hit that like button and comment your thoughts and opinions down below. You may be watching this after the draft, possibly, or right before it. So let me know what your opinions are on possible Packers mock draft, or on Packers picks, excuse me, when it comes to this. So, at number 25, I got the offensive tackle out of Alabama, J.C. Latham. I think that the offensive tackle position is definitely a position of need, and I think most Packers fans would agree with me when it comes to the tackle position. It is something that you're going to need to improve heading into next season, especially with some defensive lines like the Lions improving and already being pretty solid. The Bears improving and already being pretty solid. Vikings, not so much, but we get they're not the purple people eaters anymore. But I think that definitely is an advantage there for the Packers. Adding JC in the later half of the first round, I think, is a good value. Even though I would have liked a couple of different options, in my own opinion, I think that him there was the best option available when it came to that. Cooper DeYoung was not there. And that was another thing that I have seen a couple of times been looked into, but we'll see as I do address that later on in the draft. Wide receiver is the next position that I'm going to address at number 41, and that's Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver out of Texas. Worthy is a good player. There's no doubt about it. He has speed. He has a good job at route running and a much improved route runner in comparison to what a lot of people talk about him in the draft class. There's a great episode by Brett Coleman out of the film room. If you want to watch it, that is part of where I'm getting my analysis from. When it came to him, was looking at that video, watching it, understanding that, and then looking at myself and his tape, and him just showing the exact same things that Brett was talking about. Definitely a crisp route runner that kind of is undervalued in this draft, and I think is a good addition. I know wide receivers are the biggest need for the Packers, but I think adding a guy like Worthy at number 41 was just too good a value to pass up. So I took Worthy there, and I do think it is at least somewhat of a position that some star-studded capabilities could be added to. Then at number 58, like I said, I was going to address the secondary. I start with Max Miller, the cornerback out of Rutgers. Already got his brother on the roster, and Bo Melton. I'm sorry, I said Max Miller. Max Melton and his brother Bo Melton's already on the roster. On the other end, on the offensive end, Melton played well at Rutgers. He's been part of that kind of semi-turnaround of the Rutgers program. At least you're not winning one or two games now. You're winning 5 or 6. Guess that's an improvement. But Melton played really well against high-level competition in the Big Ten, so I think that he is definitely somebody that has held up well against high-level talent and looks to be able to continue that physical dominance, and that's, I think, something that also fits well in the culture of Green Bay, of a physical corner that's going to play uptight, a lot of press, and I think that Melton does a good job at that as well. Speaking of high-level players that played in high-level football, the next player I have at number 88 is Javon Bullard, the safety out of Georgia. And honestly, if it was the Bears mock draft, I would consider taking him as well. Bullard is somebody that I think if the Bears acquire a little bit more draft capital, should definitely look into. Bullard has done a great job at Georgia, can play free safety, can play strong safety, does a decent job inside the box, does a decent job at being able to cover center field, and does a good job overall at being able to play that rotational safety piece. But I think he could be a starter, possibly day one for the Packers. And I think probably day one if he is drafted by the Packers. So to continue to draft the defensive side of the field, I have Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the linebacker out of Clemson. And honestly, this was less to do with the need of the linebacker position and more to do with the fact that I really like Trotter. I think that he's a good linebacker. I think he has skills to be able to do a great job in coverage, particularly against tight ends. And in a division that has Cole Kmet, TJ Hawkinson, and Sam Laporta, that's a good idea to have a guy that can cover tight ends. And I think Jeremiah Trotter does a really good job at that, to kind of counter a Bears Tremaine Edmonds or a Vikings. They may struggle with that a little bit more, but overall, that I do think is helpful. Then at number 126, always add a running back in the draft, and especially with this many picks, I just think that he's a good add overall. And I'm going to take Will Shipley, the running back out of Clemson. Shipley was good value here. The only issue that I have with Shipley is that his running style doesn't exactly work the best when it comes to the NFL. He's just very much a mauler, doesn't have elite top end speed, doesn't have the best tackle breaking ability, but is a solid running back overall. Going to get you carries, going to be able to be physical, going to be good in Green Bay. Not the greatest running back, not elite in any particular category, but was a 5-star coming out of high school. He has some ability and does a decent job at catching out of the backfield. Not elite either in that category, but solid enough to be serviceable in that category as well. So, speaking of serviceable, at 169, I drafted J.D. Bertrand, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. And to be honest with this, it's a little bit of comfort when it comes to this pick. Bertrand was an elite player at Notre Dame, elite may be pushing it, but a great player in my opinion when it comes to that. Bertrand did a good job overall in this draft process to be able to put himself out there on a good footing, has had a very good RAS score, and looking good overall. I like Bertrand. I think that he's just a solid player and a guy that has a shot at a 53-man roster, which if you're getting that in the late 5th round, early 6th round area, then that's just what you want. That's what you're looking for, is a guy that can possibly make a 53-man, if not compete for a practice squad position, and I think that Bertrand is a good selection here. At number 202, I did have this player earlier on, and I kind of find it funny. First mock draft I did, I drafted him again. Eric All, tight end out of Iowa. I get that he doesn't fit the Packers scheme particularly, but he's a good blocking tight end. If the Packers know anything, cough, cough, Mercedes Lewis, it's a good idea to have a good blocking tight end on the roster, not because you always have to use him, but because he's good to have on the roster, and he's a good additional tight end. Don't think he's the greatest pass catcher, but to be fair, he was at Iowa and Michigan, which aren't exactly the most favorable tight end schools when it comes to pass catching tight ends. So maybe he has some skills. Look at George Kittle or TJ Hawkinson or stuff like that, or not really Noah Fant, but he was a top 10 pick. Then at safety, once again, we're going to hit back there. I like Kenny Logan Jr. Honestly, it was BPA here. 7th round, I just go straight BPA. Like Kenny Logan, liked him a lot at Kansas. I think that he, again, helped turn a program around in Kansas and was just kind of do-it-all safety. A good captain, a good team leader. You're going to see a lot of character reports out of this guy. That's what I feel like you're looking for at this point in the draft. At number 245, to close it out here, I have Joshua Cephas, the wide receiver out of UTSA. Elite speed. That's kind of where it starts for Cephas, is that category of elite speed. And I think that that's helpful when it comes to being able to develop guys like this, is being able to help that elite speed, being able to work that out, and adding that. Maybe he contributes. Maybe he makes a practice squad and works your way into the 53-man eventually. You never can have enough wide receiver bodies available. because, well, if you look at the Bears roster some years, they had nobody. Or even the Packers roster the last couple of years. The wide receiver position has been kind of thin talent-wise. So take a couple shots in the dark. You never know when you're going to hit. And that kind of is a little bit helpful. So that's going to wrap up today's video. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, but hit the 2 videos right here. And there's going to be a subscribe button up here as well if you'd like. And always have a great day. Bye, guys.